Most parents see a child that is dreading a social situation and comes up with the same exact conclusion, that they just need more confidence before they're able to handle this, but that's completely wrong. So they reduce the pressure, give them extra warm-up time, and just let them not do it. And it makes sense because you just don't want your kid to suffer. But the problem is the needle never moves if you do that. Avoidance isn't going to shrink. The list of situations that your child can actually handle just gets smaller and smaller. And you can't figure out why because everything that you're doing just doesn't seem to be working. I know what this looks like from the inside because I was that quiet kid. Here's what's actually going on, and once you see it, the whole situation will look completely different. Confidence is not something that will go from just not being confident and then all of a sudden confident. It's only something that shows up when someone has enough exposures to it and are uncomfortable doing it. And eventually they keep facing those uncomfortable moments, and at the other side of all those moments is the confidence that they need. When a kid is in enough scary situations where they need to adapt, eventually they just get really good at adapting and understanding what works and doesn't, and the outcome of all of that is the confidence that they need. Because what happens is they realize that they survived, they made it out, and their brain updates every time nothing wrong went down. Then eventually, with enough experiences, the alarm that used to be so loud when they first started doing these experiences just gets quieter and quieter, and they don't have that same fear that they had at the very start. The sequence is backwards from what most people assume. The real sequence is face the situation, survive it, realize that everything went perfectly okay, their brain updates, and on the other side of enough of those loops becomes confidence. Unfortunately, you can't wait till they feel like showing up because they're never gonna feel like showing up. They have to show up every single day until showing up is second nature for them. And this is another important part that many parents miss often. When a child begs you to skip something and they end up skipping that event, the brain logs that as avoidance secured, my brain feels better. The biggest issue with this is they don't just miss a rep, they end up taking a step completely backwards, because the next time that they have social discomfort, the alarm will be louder and it will say, run away, this is a dangerous situation, and avoidance wins. And I understand that kindness is completely real. You want to be able to protect them from something that's painful, but in the short term, it really hurts them because the child never gathers evidence that actually matters. I was scared in the moment, but I didn't care and I faced it anyways. If you've been letting your kids skip for a while now and the list seems to get shorter to what they're able to handle, that is not just a coincidence. It's actually the floor getting lower and lower, and it's dropping quietly every time they get to leave. And even if you stop rescuing, there is another problem that a lot of parents don't see. The week can look completely full but still be completely empty because structured activities like school don't count as social reps. They look like exposure, but they're not the same thing. Think about what school looks like for a kid that is withdrawn. They go to every class, they go to lunch, they don't talk to any kids, they make eye contact when they have to, and when they come back, it seems like they had a full day. From the inside of that situation, they had little to no real interaction with any kids. Sports and activities aren't much different. You have a coach telling you exactly what to do. The drills tell you where to stand, the rules tell you what to do next. Peer interaction becomes incidental, and sometimes it can happen because of the structure, but it's never because your kid actually initiated something. I never actually walked up to someone and started something, and if they did the same to me, it would be pretty short because I didn't have the skills. And in those moments, I would just go quiet and wait for the structure to come back. From the outside, I was there, but in actuality, I was getting no reps at all. Here's a way to check with your own kid. Ask them this: is there any kid in soccer, basketball, whatever they do, that they would want to hang out one-on-one with one of the kids? And this can't be any group activity, just them. If there's no name, that means that there's probably not a real relationship there, because just being proximity friends doesn't really create real connection. I had one friend in high school, and he was my only friend in high school. We would play games together every single day after school. It was great until he was absent. And when he was absent, the day was ruined for me because I couldn't talk to people. He was the only person, and the whole day would be horrible for me. One person being gone was enough for things to feel completely unbearable for me in high school. That was how thin the margin was for me. A lot of parents don't realize that their child could be in the same exact situation right now and they have no idea. So if school and other structured activities are not getting all the reps, then what actually is? What are they doing in their open time? The time after school, on their weekends, on their Fridays? Because that time is not going to stay empty. It's going to default to one thing, and that's screens. Because the calculation they make in their head makes sense. They can pull it up easily. When your kid comes home from a long day and they decompress on a device, they're not just relaxing in that moment. They're practicing relief through avoidance. Their brain is learning again that discomfort goes away when they leave the social world. And some parents might think, well, they have friends online, so that counts, right? I thought so too. Then I would get to school and I still couldn't read a room. I couldn't make any real connections and all my social skills were completely flat. So what do you actually do? It's just one protected hangout every single week with a small group of kids, the same day every week. That's non-negotiable, and that's all the structure you need. It doesn't require kids' enthusiasm for it. The adult just has to hold the structure while the kid just keeps showing up. And here's why this works. Consistency removes the threat. When two kids meet every single day at the same time on the same day of the week, it stops being a scary social event. It becomes just a Tuesday because they're familiar with it now. It only becomes friendship through those reps. And you can't rush it, but you can protect the conditions, so eventually it's inevitable that they're going to get a friend. Now, what do you do when your kid loses it and says, I don't want to do this at all? Don't tell them it'll be fine. Don't minimize it. Don't cave in that moment. Just say this. I know this feels hard, but I also know that you can handle it. Both parts every single time, not one or the other, every single time. Validation alone sends a message that the actual situation is dangerous, while confidence alone just dismisses what they're actually feeling. You need both. You're telling them that I see what you're feeling, but I trust your ability to get through it no matter the fear that you're feeling. During the hangout, you want to be available but invisible. Set the context, stay nearby, don't run it, don't manage every silence. You don't have to solve every minor friction between the kids because all that stuff, the frictions, the negotiations, all of that is the actual work they need to be putting in. If you smooth all of it out, your kid will never get the reps that they need. You only step in if things generally stall or things escalate. You just have to hold the container but not fill it. The biggest thing that you want to do is just push your kid to start that conversation and ask them, hey, did you start a conversation with them? Did you talk to them about something? Did you push yourself a little bit more to talk to that kid and build that familiarity that you need? Once you start the structure, there's a big mistake that is going to happen early that you need to be aware of. Parents a lot of times judge things by pre-event mood, the anxiety, being scared, complaining, being resistant, and the parent is reading that maybe they're not ready, this is not working, but that's completely the wrong signal. Pre-event anxiety is the last thing you want to update. What you want to look for is how do they feel after 6, 7, 8 sessions of doing it? Do you find that they're recovering faster, that they're staying longer, that they're mentioning other kids' names at dinner when you didn't even ask? In that moment, their brain is updating. The before feeling is always going to be there, but the actual experience is completely different when they're there. Real progress looks like this. They went, they stayed. The debrief after from your child was just fine. They didn't say it was amazing, but they keep showing up. Bailouts are happening less. They are complaining less about going. There is less resistance. That's what winning looks like in the early stages. But there's one thing that is really important to note, that this framework only works when it's your own child that's pulling away from the social interaction, when anxiety is driving the distance between them and other kids. If your kid is actively being excluded by peers, not just overlooked but generally excluded from a group, more exposure to that same group might not be the answer. In that case, you might need to think about another peer group that will better fit your kid in that moment. Because withdrawals and rejection look the same from the outside, but how you treat each of them is completely different. This doesn't guarantee popularity, but it gives your child a landing spot. One recurring Tuesday, one recurring kid that they see every single week, pushing themselves to start conversations with them. And from there, slowly, but with enough reps, they build that confidence that they need in that environment. When they keep showing up to the hard things and starting the conversations with the same kids, eventually they'll have those friends and the confidence they need. Here's what I actually believe about how confidence is built. It starts firstly with belonging. They need to be able to jump without worrying about where they're going to land. If they fail and nobody's in their corner, that failure is going to confirm their fear that they were not right to try in that moment. Reps without belonging don't stick the same way. Every day a child gets through something hard, they grow a little bit stronger. Every day that they avoid it, the avoidance gets a little bit more and a little bit more comfortable day by day. And at the same time, it gets a little bit harder to reverse. The structure doesn't require kids' buy-in. It requires one steady adult that can keep holding it no matter the drama. That's the only job. I hope you enjoyed this. I have resources down below if you want to learn more. Thank you so much for watching.